Hey everybody, welcome back to Bamboo Batu. This is Fred Hornaday. Today we're talking about bamboo, friend or foe. How invasive is bamboo? It's a hot topic. It's a controversial matter with bamboo. A lot of people have a real bad opinion about bamboo. There's a real negative perception about it because of its tendency to spread out and expand and potentially take over your garden and get into your neighbor's garden and get all over the place and become extremely difficult to remove and eradicate. So let's talk about why it's got that reputation and whether or not it deserves this negative reputation. Indeed, there are some varieties of bamboo where the roots really do spread out. Call them running bamboos, usually. It's the common parlance. Non-scientific term, running bamboo. Phyllostachys is one genus of running bamboo, probably the most common, most widespread genus of running bamboo. There's lots of different species. I think about 50 or 60 different species of Phyllostachys. Comes in big and small and lots of different shapes and sizes and colors. But the roots do spread out like this one in the picture. It's got those long, leggy rhizomes. Actually, these are rhizomes that spread, and that's how the bamboo propagates. That's how it survives and multiplies and keeps the species going. And so you do need to watch out for that. Although they are some very beautiful species. Here's Phyllostachys Druidityglaucensis. It's commonly grown in Europe. It's like a medium-sized timber bamboo. The poles get maybe 3 or 4 inches in diameter. It grows nice and thick, close together, lots of dense foliage. It's a beautiful species of bamboo, but it does spread like other running bamboos, and it can potentially get out of control. So, like I said, there's some different types of bamboo. There's running bamboo that we just looked at. And then there's clumping bamboo. Now, if you look at the rhizomes or the root structure, you can see how the running bamboo has that long singular rhizome that goes out away from the mature culm, away from the main part of the plant. And if you look at clumping bamboo, the fresh shoots just come up. They just curl up right next to the main clump. And so you have a non-invasive variety, as opposed to the running bamboo, which some people refer to as invasive. I like to think of it as expansive. It expands, but as we'll see, it's not what I would consider invasive. The botanical terms for these running bamboo, the rhizomes are considered leptomorph, which means running, or monopodial, which means like singular, like single foot. The rhizome goes out in one single direction and just keeps going out. Clumping bamboo, the rhizomes are botanically referred to as pachynomorph or sympodial, basically meaning that they're clumping and they're close together and tightly clustered, which is a good option for most gardeners. That's what they prefer. The trick is that in colder climates, most clumping bamboos don't grow very well. Clumping bamboos tend to be tropical or subtropical in general. There's some exceptions, but that's the general rule. Whereas the running bamboos are the cold hardy varieties. If you live in a place where it snows every winter, chances are you're going to grow running bamboo, which generally grows better in those cold climates. It can survive the freezing winters and the snow, etc. So there are some good reasons why people plant running bamboo instead of clumping bamboo, even though running bamboo does look like it could be a little bit scary. It can get out of control. Here's some pictures of some clumping bamboo. This is the base of a Bambooza old hammy, very popular species of bamboo. It's a subtropical, so you don't need to be in a tropical zone to grow it, but you do need a relatively warm, temperate climate, mild climate. This picture is from San Luis Obispo County in California. Southern California is great for Bambooza species. They are clumping. They can tolerate mild freeze, but if it gets below, say, 20 degrees Fahrenheit, you're going to definitely see some damage. The plant will probably survive, at least in the roots, but you're going to see some leaf damage for sure. And it could be some damage to the culms and the poles, depending just how cold it gets. But you can see here the fresh shoots are coming up real close to the main clump of the plant. Here's another example. This is Bambooza Bichiana. This is a real tropical variety. This picture is from Laos, I believe, Southeast Asia. It's right between Thailand and Vietnam. Laos, small country down there, where it is tropical, and this one is famous for its giant shoots. The shoots come up huge, and as you can see, they're all tightly clustered, very close to the main clump, and so no real risk of being invasive or expansive. So, as I said, I like to differentiate between invasive and expansive. Bamboo has those rhizomes that stretch out and expand, but it's not invasive in the real literal meaning of the word. Now here's a plant, Pommel Grass. It's native to South America, and it's grown ornamentally in many parts of the world. You see it all over Southern Europe. Where I grew up in Southern California, it's very common. Most of the southern states where it's mild, Mediterranean type of climates, people plant them as ornamentals. They're very pretty. You got these nice flowering tops, but as they flower, each one of these little pieces come off of that white fluffy stuff, and those are seeds, and those seeds scatter all over the place. And next thing you know, you've got Pommel Grass growing all over the mountainsides in pristine old growth oak forests and redwood forests and places where it really doesn't belong. And the thing about Pommel Grass, it tends to break up the soil. Unlike bamboo, which binds the soil together, it's really good for erosion control. Pommel Grass actually has the opposite effect. It tends to break up the soil and loosen it, and resulting in landslides. I've seen that on Highway 1 in California on the Central Coast, going up to Big Sur. There's all this Pommel Grass growing there. It does not belong there. That is an invasive species that is disturbing the native habitat. And there's lots of other plants like that are truly invasive. You buy them at the hardware store, at the nursery, plant them in your yard because of their attractive foliage or flowers or whatever it is, and they grow very well in your climate, and they go to seed and flower. Well, first they flower, then they go to seed, and the seeds get cast out into the wind, and next thing you know, these ornamental plants are growing all over in the countryside and in the forests and fields and meadows and landscapes, and really disrupting the local habitats and local species. And bamboo, although bamboo can get out of control in your garden, it does not spread and take over that way because of the flowering of bamboo. Bamboo flowers very rarely. In many cases, the flowers do not produce live seeds. And if they do, the seeds are difficult to propagate usually. And it's really not an issue with bamboo seeds getting cast into the wind and sprouting up in unexpected, unwanted places. It's really only the roots that spread. So you can keep an eye on those a bit better than you can the flowers. You can't really keep track of flowers. The seeds, once they get cast into the wind, they have they're very lightweight and they just blow, and they're designed by nature to blow great distances. So one of the ways to control those roots is a containment trench. Here's a bamboo containment trench that someone built, someone dug. It's about 1 or 2 feet deep, about a foot wide, and super effective, real basic, low-tech method for containing your bamboo. The rhizomes are going to stretch out, and they're going to hit that trench. And when they hit it, you'll see the rhizomes, and you'll just go in there and cut them back. It's a pretty basic thing to do. Unlike other barriers, the rhizomes will not try to go under the trench because they don't recognize the trench as a boundary that needs to be circumvented. They'll just go straight into the trench, and at that point you can detect them and cut them back. A lot of people like to fill the trench with something light and soft, like sand or dried leaves or mulch or something, so that there's not the tripping hazard or falling in the trench and twisting your ankle or something. But still easy to dig in there and look for the roots, the spreading roots and rhizomes. But if you just leave it exposed like this, that's the easiest way to see what's going on. But it's not as attractive as filling it with some dried mulch or something. But it's a very, very effective method. You can also buy rhizome barriers. It's a super thick plastic, super durable. They last like 30 or 40 years, and you can get them different sizes. They'll go 2 or 3 feet deep into the soil, and they're really specifically made to keep bamboo in place. The other thing to do to keep your bamboo from spreading out of control is just to prune it back. Keep thinning it out. And if you're thinning out the old culms in the middle of the grove, then the plant will put energy into filling in those gaps rather than spreading outward. The thing is, people plant bamboo in a tight little corner of the garden, and the bamboo wants to spread out. But if you give it adequate space and thin it in the middle of the grove, then the plant will put more energy into filling in those spaces instead of expanding outward. So that's a good tip to know. So yeah, it can get out of control. You got to watch out for it. Here's another example of some Phyllostachys rhizomes. They don't always go underground. Sometimes they crawl overground. So you can imagine for every one of those you see, there's a lot more going on underground that you don't see. And you probably won't even be aware of it until it starts, it could be a year or two down the road before the fresh shoots start coming up vertically from underground. And then you'll realize there's rhizomes all over the yard, and they'll go under the fence, and they'll get into the rose bushes, and they'll get into the flower beds. And yeah, it can become a nuisance. But there's ways to tame it. And most cases of bamboo getting out of control is just poor gardening, neglect, irresponsible gardening. There's a lot of examples of that. I get people emailing me all the time, telling me about their neighbors who just don't care and let their bamboo get out of control, and it's taken over their yard. And it's really unfortunate to hear this because it gives bamboo a bad reputation. But yeah, here's an example of bamboo tearing up the asphalt. So yeah, if you don't manage it, it is a tenacious plant, and it does have the power to get out of control. So keep an eye on that. But like I said, it's more about proper management and the gardener more than the plant. The plant, bamboo, can be a beautiful thing if you grow it properly and responsibly. And if you don't have the time and resources and energy, patience to deal with it, then look for a clumping bamboo species if you have a good climate for that. And if you're in a cold climate, check out Fargesia, genus Fargesia. There's some super cold hardy clumping bamboos of the genus Fargesia. They tend to be a little bit smaller, but very attractive, arching culms, thin cascading culms. There's 10 or 20 species of Fargesia that you can look into. And that's the word today on bamboo, friend or foe. So you decide, and let me know in the comments what you think. Let me know if you want to hear about any other topics. Don't forget to subscribe, share, and do all that cool stuff, and make Bamboo Batu your new favorite. All right, see you next time.